People have often asked me, who are some of your favorite audiences? And I think some people might be surprised when I tell them that some of my favorite audiences, even to this day, that I still regularly have the opportunity to get in front of, are inmates in prison. Of course, I can joke and say, well, you know, it is a captive audience, and that kind of is a given. But just recently, I was in Huntsville, Texas. That was just about a month ago, working with a ministry called the Bill Glass Weekend of Champions. Bill Glass is an old NFL football player, and years ago, he was an itinerant motivational speaker and I guess evangelist, if you want to call him that. But had a platform because he played professional football in the NFL. But an outspoken Christian. And he launched a ministry where somebody encouraged him to reach out to folks in prisons. And that ministry blossomed into something that Bill Glass has been doing now for 40 years. And he's now spoken to more inmates than anybody in history. But he brings in guys that are willing to come in with him that will provide entertaining shows for these inmates. And then we give volunteers the opportunity to actually sit down and get into spiritual conversations with those inmates. But primarily, we're there, when I say we, those of us that are the performers, are there just to kind of grease the skids, if you will. But when I was in Huntsville, I just remember looking out into the audience, and these guys, many of them, this was in a maximum security prison. Many of them are there for life. Just as I was looking out there, they just were laughing. Some of them were practically in tears. They were having such a good time. And I remember thinking, this is just so much fun. To see these guys laughing this way, to just relax, to riff with them. My McElroy figure, Mac, when I do programs in prisons like this, I actually have him dressed in black and white stripes. So he's a jailbird, and he talks about how it is that he got locked up and he was incarcerated, and don't complain about the accommodations. They gave me a suitcase, this kind of thing. And it just tickles me how much the inmates enjoy interacting with Mac, and he kind of becomes, one of them. And I actually got a phone message just about a week ago from a woman. She didn't tell me her name, even. But I have caller ID, so I was able to call her back. Her message so intrigued me, and I was actually really glad that it was just a message because it sort of made for something that I could keep. But she said, I'm calling for David Pendleton, and I found you on the internet, and I'm calling to say thank you. You were in Huntsville, Texas, and my son is incarcerated there. And he enjoyed your show so much that he said that he forgot where he was during the time that he was watching your show. And I just wanted to say thank you for that. And that was it. Like, she didn't tell me her name or anything. So I immediately called her back and found a little bit more of her story. He is going to be there probably for another 45 years. That's his sentence. I have no idea what his crime was. And of course, talking to this dear woman whose son is basically going to be in prison for the rest of her life, barring some miracle, was really heart-rending. But she just wanted to say thank you, and it meant enough to that guy that he actually said to his mother when she went to visit him, would you look up this guy, David Pendleton? That's the only thing I know about him. His name's David Pendleton. I'm sure you can find him on the internet. And just call them up if you get a chance and just tell them thank you. And that's what she did.
Wow.
So there's no amount of money that I could earn that could match just how gratifying that is and how special that is that that would happen. And, you know, that's just one little story, but it's things like that that really keep me going and make me really feel like, okay, this is so worth doing. What a privilege to be able to do that. And trust me, when I go and do those shows in prison, those are not financially lucrative programs that I'm doing. As a matter of fact, I actually raise money to make it possible for me to be able to do that. And it's just people that I know, people in churches and so on that say, hey, is there anything I can do to help? And I talk to them about these opportunities, and there are people that actually give money to make that happen, make it so that I can, you know, actually get on a plane and go and do programs like that. So again, that is what, those are the kinds of moments that make it so special. And even when I was performing in that particular prison, I just remember there was a moment that I looked out and saw these guys laughing where I just thought to myself, this is just pure gold for me. So